Guys, thanks for taking the time to come out and see this. I'm Ethan Ravotti. I'm a technical specialist here at Additives, and this is just some real top level concepts for spring cleaning and general tips for your tool room. I do know that this is kind of all over the place where people are in manufacturing. Some places are more organized than others, so I wouldn't be surprised if you guys already have a few of these on your list already. The first big thing I'd recommend is prioritizing all your tasks. If you get your big heavy hitters out of the way first, you can spend your time on the smaller details things instead of just worrying about all those deadlines stressing you out. And the big one I'd prioritize above all else is if you have a past due on any tools in your shop. So if something's just come off the floor and it has to get out ASAP, I will put a caveat on it. Don't do the industry standard of slapping a Band-Aid on it and just getting it back out there. The worst thing you could do is have the tool be just good enough, and then it blows up twice as worth 4 or 5 days out on the floor. The next thing, kind of in lieu of the same concept of being past due, is anticipating large orders coming up. So if you have a tool that's coming in and you know you're going to be running nonstop for the next month or so, take that extra time, do the extra small details on it, make sure you can still reach your standard cycle. Then going off of all that as well is looking for something that you can get an easy efficiency gain off of. So something similar to that would be checking out your water lines. As little as 30 seconds of scale buildup can really adversely affect your cycle time and really adversely affect your cooling time, rather bumping up your cycle time. We'll touch more on that later. Next one up is inventory and documentation. This is definitely a big thing, not only for you guys, but your whole team in general. You want to know what you have and where you have it. So depending if you're the mold manufacturer yourself, or if you get them from somebody else, you might already have a label on it, but you definitely want to label all your molds, either just a standard product name or mold name, and then above that, get kind of a running list going of this is the mold, this is the manufacturing name for the mold, this is what it runs kind of deal, as well as any engineering drawings associated with it. That will really help streamline any internal as well as external communication on the mold if you have to make any changes to it. On top of that, you should also look into getting a mold history going. So that kind of involves the whole mold repair and run of it. So how long has it been in cycle? When was its maintenance last? What was done on a maintenance? And that can really help uncover more underlying issues, recurring problems. Next up is establishing a spare parts list. Now, the first thing you want to do here is find and identify your critical spares. A critical spare is something that if this goes down, this one component, production's done, regardless of how many Band-Aids you stick onto it. That could be something like a slide spring, an injection mold, or a blow pin for extrusion blow molding. That's something you want to always have on hand, look out, see your lead times, always have that good standard stocking value for it. Beyond that, if you have the time, go into the nitty-gritty details, see what ejector pins you need. Always make sure you have an associated pin number for your mold. Then we're on to true spring cleaning. This is the typical declutter, organize your work environment. If you have molds that have been sitting in your shop for X, 2, 3 years, who knows how long in some places, could be a decade, that you haven't used, you have no plan to put back into service, that's the time you want to go through and say, do we have a business case to even keep this anymore? Run that up the chain, see if you can get it out of your space. A more organized space will help your team work more efficiently. Then, if you somehow still got time, I know we get busy fast with all the random fires we got to put out, I'd look into experimenting. Now, this could be with a new process, new material, want to try a new additive. But going into this, the biggest caveat I'd assign this one is sticking with the process. I know you could try something new and then right away, you just don't see quite the results you're looking for. At that point, I highly encourage sticking it out a few weeks unless it's something extremely detrimental than going into and then reviewing it after you have that established history of your results, seeing if you can go back to the bad ways, stay the course, or reevaluating for a new experiment. Then if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I know this was rather fast. This is, again, very top level concepts of it. We will circle back. I do want to highlight on some of the mold cleaning. I do have the opportunity to show you some details of the system here with me today. This is the Eco Pro cut that ID Additives has. Now, typically, this is used for a plastic mold cleaner. It can be used in any kind of water jacket thing. It's definitely not the only one on the market. It's just the only one here with me today. Very simple machine setup concept. She runs off of a air diaphragm pump. So all she needs is sharp air and some chemical. We have everything nice and cleanly labeled. Very easy operation running through it. Any questions that came in yet, Carolyn?
Did have one question come through. Are there any other tools you recommend to use in your preventative maintenance? Any?
Yeah, so one thing I definitely recommend in PMs, going back to establishing a good mold history, is a software that I used in the previous life called Fix, F-I-I-X, I believe. And it's a very, very intuitive, you can assign a maintenance order to an exact tool. And then from there, it organizes. You can put in your notes and all the small details about it. So you'll have a very clear, okay, on January, the tool went into the shop because of X. Okay, 4 months down the line, it came in again because of X. 4 months again down the line, it came in again because of X. So you can kind of start to establish a good, clear pattern of issues, and then hopefully find your root cause.
So, we did have another question come in. How do you know how many spare parts to keep on hand for any given part?
So that's a good one, especially for your critical spares. That one, you want to see how often you're using it. If you have a toll history, that's a good one to look into from there. But you want to compare how much you're using it, how often, to your lead time on getting it in. You always want to kind of have a stocking level so that if you have to order, you still have tools on hand, rather replacements on hand.
Ethan, we are being asked what the software you were talking about.
F-I-I-X.
F.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other questions about, preventative maintenance, spring cleaning, anything like that, about our EcoPro? And if you'd like to talk a little more about our specific product.
So it's based off of the air diaphragm pump, like I was saying. The chemical itself is roughly 85% water. The rest is really what does the work behind the scenes. The air diaphragm pump really helps out because if you run into a blockage in your system, anything, as soon as the supply is 10 pounds lower on the return value, then what pump just kind of cavitates slower and slower and slower, more pauses than stops than anything. And it holds that chemical there until the blockage clears. Very, very simple. I myself, I was trained for about an hour, and we have some incredible YouTube videos, Carolyn, if you wouldn't mind linking that in the chat for the guys. That goes through the entire operation of this, as well as the benchmarking on your tools. If you got time for that in your shop, highly encourage it. Streamlines the cleaning process. Make sure you stay on top of all your efficiency for cooling.
So, any other questions about spring cleaning and preventative maintenance? Ethan, maybe you could talk a little bit about the flow meter.
Yeah, so some other tools we definitely recommend with the Eco Pro is a flow meter and an endoscopic camera. So on your water lines, depending if you have a baffle system or just your straight bore channels, you can scope it. Most of them on the market, I want to say we got ours off Amazon for around $100. You can scope in your line, get a nice clear picture. Management always likes seeing the before and after, and who doesn't? It's kind of fun doing all the, oh, look at this gross stuff, now it's gone. Beyond that, with the flow meter, the one I have hooked up here is from Keyence. I believe we also could offer a Burger and Brown flow meter. This one is very external. It's an ultrasonic. We use this in benchmarking. So instead of just taking it into your shop, okay, air goes through, we're clear. With a flow meter, you can measure your gallons, your flow rate through, and make sure it's at that established level. So for example, if you know it's meant to be running 14 GPM, now you're testing it out and you're only reading 10. You know you can get that forward with the system.